Hello and welcome to Altenew Educators Video Hop. The theme this month is Harvest Hues, and as usual, you have fabulous gift certificates to win once you hop along with us. My card today is fun, vibrant, and in the hues of the fall season. I am using the lovely Camellia stamp set, which was a part of the Altenew Pink Fresh retreat, and I am pretty sure that this stamp set will soon be available on Altenew's website. However, I am going to link alternate stamp options in the description box below that you could use for a similar effect. Now I have two sizes of the floral cluster here, and what I've done is place them on an A2 card mat, and using my stamp wheel I am going to repeat stamp the floral clusters using obsidian ink. I also am placing my sentiment from the same stamp set and just finishing all the outline stamping in one go. So I am creating a one layer card with multiple floral clusters, and you could repeat this technique otherwise with just one or two floral clusters as well. I have a tiny little gap left at the bottom, so I'm just repositioning my card panel and stamping a part of the stamp right there to complete that gap, creating that illusion of the flowers going beyond my paper. For my medium, I'm going to be using the Woodless watercolor pencils, and I'm only showing you the coloring process of one flower. I begin by laying out magenta right at the base of the petal, starting from inside of the petal, just adding the color towards the middle region of the petal. I then go in with light peach that I bring in from the tip of the petal inwards, and then with purple I just add a few shadows, especially at the folds of the petals. Once I've laid out the color and I have a base set, I'm using my water brush pen to blend everything together, mix them, just activate the pigment of these watercolor pencils and get it to flow and move around. I lift color wherever I need highlight, and you see I'm holding a paper napkin in one hand just to keep wiping my brush with any excess color that I'm lifting off. So I keep blending until I'm happy, and then I go in with orange just to add a little pop of color. I'm not blending in the orange, but I keep alternating and adding magenta, the purple, wherever I need to add more depth, shadows, and details. So this is a slow process, and a process I have to say that requires patience, because when I actually started off with this card, I was so excited to be playing with this new coloring medium for me, and I didn't realize that I was getting myself into trouble, because coloring all of these floral clusters took me more than half a day, but I enjoyed it. So, no complaints with that. It's just that you need to be patient and you need to enjoy your coloring medium and the coloring process. And then this doesn't seem something that's time consuming, it actually is effortless. So, I continue building color. You can see the magenta, purple, light peach, and orange. Those are the colors that I'm playing with. And once I'm happy with the shading, I move ahead to the next petal. Predominantly the same process. I start with magenta in the inner region of the petal, light peach at the tip of the petal. I go in with purple just to add more shadows. I blend everything in nicely. Wherever I want a highlight, I lift off the color with my water brush pen, and I slowly keep building layers with the magenta and the purple, just adding the shadows and depth wherever I need that. So I am speeding up the process here because it's going to be the same thing. And again, when I add orange, it is mostly dry color penciling over my wet petal. I'm not going back in with the water brush and blending out the orange. I leave that because that adds another level of texture, kinda a grainy look. And I forgot to mention at the start, I am using Altenew's watercolor A2 loose sheets, so that just sets a nice base for all the blending, and the paper is going to take as much water as I give in to blend all the color. So once I have that nice velvety look, the blended look with the magenta, the light peach and purple, The orange, like I was mentioning before, just adds a perfect level of texture and grainy look, creating this organic feel for my petals. So I just continue doing that, finishing to color the remaining petals of this flower just in the same way. And you see me when I'm doing this, I keep rotating my sticky mat. I'm not moving my hand too much around. I just keep rotating so that I have a good view of the petal and I'm able to work petal by petal in this manner. And what this also helps me is it helps me see the fold of the petal, the curves of the petal. So I keep turning it in the direction just so that my pencil movement follows the curve of the petal, the folds of the petal, and that just enhances the shadow and the shading and the depth that I'm creating, because ultimately that is what adds to the realistic look of this flower and the coloring process. So just moving ahead, finishing my last petals right there and adding details even to the tiniest of the petals. I'm just making sure that I have the perfect details that enhance the petal. So once that's done, I am going to move to the flower center. I am picking the chrome yellow, adding that in the flower center, picking the scarlet red and bringing that in, and just scribbling and activating it with my water brush pen. I also go in with the vermilion just to add pops of the darker orange and paper bag just for a little brown to create that depth. Now onto the leaves. I am going to use this lighter green, the olive green, and I'm adding that to the base of the leaf, adding chrome yellow to the mid region and vermilion to the tips of the leaf. And then again with my brush pen, I am blending it all and I go back in to add paper back at the base just to deepen and darken the base. So in this way, I am creating a blend of autumn hues for the leaves and just adding the vermilion on the tips, giving it that orangish tip, and adding the olive green with paper bag at the base does a lot in creating that autumn look for this particular card. So my florals have the vibrant purple and magenta hues, and then the leaves to balance them, I have the green, the orange, achieving that look of leaves changing color in this autumn season. So I just continue to do that, and you see I go over and over with the same colors until I'm happy with the intensity of the pigment, and I keep blending it with my water brush pen and just building layers to complete that. So that is a look at the flower complete, and I'm completing all the other flowers in the same manner. Now for the background, I'm using the spring marker watercolor brush set, starting with Midnight Violet at the base of the card. I'm going to color in and fill in the white spaces. I realized that I wanted it to be much more vibrant, so I go back in with Rubelite over Midnight Violet just to create that hot pink or magenta rather, to bring out the colors of the flower through the pop of color on my background. So I stick to using these two colors for the base of the card, and as I build that and move upwards, I am going to bring in the autumn blaze just to start adding in orange. So I'm going in for a little gradient look here and keeping the purple and rubelite combination the most on the card. I then bring back autumn blaze to add in the orange. So my colors are inspired from what I've used on the flowers, but you can see just by changing the pigment, I'm achieving a different intensity and shade. At the extreme corner, I'm bringing in the limeade to add yellow, and I blend that in nicely and go back in with autumn blaze right over that. So what that has done is just created a nice light orange at the corner of the card, which then blends into that deeper autumn blaze and then into the rubelite and midnight violet mix. Now to step this up, I am placing the grid stencil, And I am using a baby wipe with my index finger to just rub off and lift watercolor through the stencil. I also use a Q-tip and just wrap that with the baby wipe so that I have more control and precision to go in through the stencil and lift off color. This is one of my favorite techniques for background building and is doable with watercolors. So lifting off color through the stencil, I now have this ghosted look on the background. I complete this card with gold splatters, and that is a closer look at the coloring detail and that stunning background. I really hope that you've enjoyed today's video, and do hop along, like, share, and subscribe, and leave love on every creator's video to enter the fabulous giveaway. Until the next time, take care and bye bye.